Hello all, this is Shatabdi Acharya, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Vedang Institute of Technology. So, your first module is, first chapter we are going to start is atomic structure. So, before proceeding to the chapter, let us see what all contents we have. First of all, fundamental particles in an atom. Secondly, Rutherford's atomic model. Atomic number and mass number. Isotopes, isotones as well as isobars. Bohr's atomic model. Pauli's exclusion principle, Aufbau rule. And finally, we will end with electronic configurations of various elements. So, first of all, we will start with the fundamental particles. Before going to the fundamental particles, let us understand from where did all this start, like where the concept of atom started. It started by a famous person or a famous theory which you all might have studied, that is Dalton's atomic theory. In 1808, a famous British school teacher, John Dalton, came up with the idea that a matter is made up of very small indivisible particles called as atom. And this theory marked the landmark of atomic structure. After the proposal of the presence of atom in the matter, further quest continued and various scientists came up like J.J. Thomson, Rutherford, Chadwick, Bohr, so on and so forth. They proposed through various experiments that atom is not the smallest particle of matter. However, it can further be subdivided into many small particles like electrons, protons, as well as neutrons. So, after the discovery of these three fundamental particles, otherwise known as subatomic particles, further experiments continued and currently we have 35 subatomic particles. However, electron, proton and neutron still remain the fundamental particle of atom. So, we will look at them individually. First of all, electrons. So, electrons was discovered by a person called Sir J.J. Thomson. Through an experiment called as CRT or cathode ray tube experiment. otherwise called as Crookes tube experiment. Through this experiment, by the study of cathode rays produced from cathode towards anode, they concluded that every atom consists of some negatively charged particles and named them electrons. So, according to them, an electron can be defined as the fundamental particle having a unit negative charge as well as mass is that of 1/183/5 part of a hydrogen atom. This was the definition of electron proposed after cathode ray tube experiment, and currently electron is known as the universal particle of an atom. Universal particle of an atom. So, now after the discovery of electrons, further quest carried on, and continuing the same setup, that is the cathode ray tube. The tube setup was same, but now what happened, they just reversed the direction of rays, that is initially the ray was produced from cathode side towards anode side. In the second experiment, they produced a ray from anode towards cathode and studied those anode rays, otherwise called as anil rays, and that led to the discovery of our next fundamental particle, that is proton. Proton was discovered by a person called Goldstein with the same setup, just the reverse of the rays were just the reverse of the previous one. So, according to them, they defined proton as the fundamental particle carrying a unit positive charge and mass nearly equal to that of the hydrogen atom. So, basically proton carried same charge as that of an electron, but the mass of proton was comparatively heavier than that of the electron. After the discovery of proton as well as electrons, then there was another person called James Chadwick, who came up with another concept of neutrons. According to him, neutrons were described as the fundamental particle having no charge and mass equal to that of hydrogen atom. So, neutrons are described as the fundamental particles having no charge but mass equal to that of hydrogen atom. So, after the discovery of electron, proton and neutron, now if we try to sum up the mass as well as charge of these fundamental particles in a table, we can get it as electron, proton, neutron. The charge of the electron was unit negative, so -1. Charge of proton was also unit positive. That of neutron is neutral, so 0. Now, if I compare the mass in kgs, so the mass of electron was 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. That of proton is 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 kgs, and neutron is also same as 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 kgs. So, if you compare charge, then electron and proton are of the same charge, whereas electron is negative, proton is positive, and if I compare mass, then proton and neutron exactly have the same mass. So, after these fundamental particles were discovered, the quests further continued as, yes, we know atom contains electron, protons and neutrons, but now the question arises, how are these electron, protons and neutrons present inside the atom? So, for that various atomic models were proposed. Atomic model. So, very first atomic model that was proposed was by Sir J.J. Thomson. Called the plum pudding model. Plum pudding model, or otherwise called as watermelon model. According to J.J. Thomson, like everybody of you have seen a watermelon. So, according to J.J. Thomson, the red part of the watermelon is the positive proton charge distribution, and the seeds, the black seeds in the watermelon are the distribution of the electrons. So, proton which is positive is spread out in the mass, and the negative electrons are spread as seeds on the surface of the watermelon, and thereby the positive and negative, due to their attraction, they balance or keep the atom's atomic structure stable. But this failed because after the discovery of neutrons, J.J. Thomson failed to give them a place in the watermelon model. Therefore, this model came to an end. After this, the next popular model which we are going to study is Rutherford's atomic model. So, before studying Rutherford's atomic model, we have to deal with Rutherford experiment. Like, what experiment did Rutherford conduct to conclude to this atomic model that he proposed? So, the experiment was Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. So, how the experiment was done? The setup was somewhat like this. In a lead chamber, he placed a radioactive uranium. Then through a slit, he allowed the rays from that radioactive element to pass as a fine line through this slit, and finally it hit a gold foil placed at some distance, and that gold foil was surrounded by a zinc sulfide screen. What was the need of this zinc sulfide screen? Basically, when any ray of light or any particle hit this screen, they show a light or a glow of light by a property called as fluorescence. So, to detect the presence of any element or any particle hitting the screen, he placed a fluorescence zinc sulfide screen behind this gold foil, and what he observed is when he allowed the rays to pass through this slit and hit the gold foil, he observed certain scintillations or fluorescence at the back of the screen, and from this experiment what observations he found out? That first of all, very large amount of rays passed through the atom and hit the zinc sulfide screen. This was the first observation, like majority of the rays passed undeflected and hit this zinc sulfide screen placed at the back of the gold foil. Second observation was very few rays were deflected, making very small angles. The third observation was very few rays again deflected through larger angles, that is greater than 90 degrees. So, these were the observations that Rutherford found carrying out the gold foil experiment. So, after observing the following observation, Rutherford led to its atomic model, which was then called as the Rutherford's planetary model of atom, which we will be dealing in the next class properly. What was the Rutherford's planetary model exactly about, that we will be dealing in the next module.